Okay, so here we go, students. Let's see. So if you don't have your own copy of the worksheet, it's right here. It's on the LMS. You can just click this one here and download it. And we're just going to go through and try to identify if, the difference between a participle phrase, a gerund phrase, and an infinitive phrase. So again, the biggest difference between an infinitive and the other two are that an infinitive will have is the most basic form of the verb, and the word to before it. So to eat, to run, to walk, to play, to dance, etc. And then a participle and a gerund phrase. The difference is a participle phrase is always going to be an adjective phrase. So it'll always modify some sort of name somehow, or some sort of noun. And a gerund phrase can be used as a noun, an adverb, any other part of speech. But a participle will always be an adjective phrase. So here all we're doing is underlining the verbal phrase in the following sentences and identifying the phrase by writing participle, gerund, or infinitive above the underlined words. So this one here, consumed hot or cold by a third of the world's population. Coffee is a drink with an interesting history. This is a past participle. We know that because it takes the verb to consume, which means to drink or eat. Like to consume something is to take it into your body somehow. Is my mic low? Can you hear me okay or no? Sorry, my mic is a little bit old. So I hope that it's working. Okay. So to consume something is like to take into your body somehow. So you would drink or eat something. And this is a past participle because it takes consume and adds ed to it, making it a past participle. So number one, learning about the history of coffee led me to the conclusion that coffee hasn't been around forever. Is this a participle phrase, a gerund? Excuse me. First, can we identify where the phrase is? We know that learn is a verb, right? And if we add ing to the end of a verb, then we either have a gerund or a present participle. So the phrase here will be learning about the history of coffee. And then led here is the operative verb. It's the main verb in the sentence. So this, learning about the history of coffee, is going to be your phrase. Let me find it. There we go. This is your phrase here. Is this a gerund phrase or participle phrase? We know it's not an infinitive, so don't say infinitive. Is this a gerund or a participle? Is this modifying a noun at all? Let's double check this one. Wrong page. Still wrong page. Is this modifying a noun at all? Is this acting like an adjective? No, it's modifying this verb here, led, right? It's saying, what did learning about coffee do? It led, it brought me towards something. It led me to the conclusion that coffee hasn't been around forever. So if it ends in ing and it is not modifying a noun or a person, a place, or a thing, and it is used basically in any other way, we know that it is a gerund phrase. Okay, so this is a gerund. I'm going to, that's horrible. We know that this is a gerund phrase. Okay, the next one, the story that is about 850 AD. The story is that at about 850 AD, an Arab goat herd noticed his goats acting strangely. Do we know where the phrase is? This whole first part is not quite a phrase that we're going over. It's sort of its own clause. Goat herd, no. Goat herd is a person. This noticed is the main verb here, actually. So what the goat herd did, he noticed something. This is the main verb. So it's actually, this is a bit of a different one. Acting strangely is going to be the phrase that we're looking at here, right? Noticed is just the past tense of, this is the main verb here. Notice is the main verb. Because what did the Arab goat herd do? He noticed. Okay, what did he notice? He noticed his goats acting strangely. So the phrase here that we're looking at is acting strangely. Now, is this, it ends in ing. Is this going to be a gerund or a participle? Is it modifying a noun? What is it modifying? It's modifying the word goats. So are goats a noun? Are goats a thing? Yes, they are. So if it's modifying a noun, it is a participle phrase. It's being used as an adjective. It's a participle phrase. Okay. So acting. So in this case, acting strangely is a participle phrase. Okay. Good. Okay. So number 3, investigating the goat's behavior. Kaldi tested the berries of a bush the goats had been eating. I'm going to go through this a little bit more quickly. So this here is going to be your phrase, investigating the goat's behavior. This is going to be the phrase that we're working with. And again, we know because it ends in ing here. So investigating the goat's behavior, Kaldi Kaldi tasted the berries of a bush the goats had been eating. So is this a gerund phrase or a participle phrase? Well, is it modified? Good job. It is a, no, sorry. So it's modifying Kaldi here, right? It's modifying this person. It is saying that what this person did, he investigated the goat's behavior. So it's modifying a person. If it's modifying a noun, then it is a participle phrase. Once again, this is another participle phrase. It is modifying the noun Kaldi. Kaldi is a person. This is the goat herd that we're talking about. So it's modifying a person. It's modifying a noun. It is an adjective. So it is a participle phrase. Number 4, the berries were coffee berries, and Kaldi, feeling the effects of the caffeine, told others of his discovery. So again, is this going to be a gerund or a participle? Is it modifying a verb? Is it modifying a verb or is it modifying, what is it modifying here? Was someone feeling the effects of the caffeine? Was something feeling the effects of the caffeine? It's the noun, right? The noun was feeling the effects of the caffeine. So it's modifying Kaldi again. So if it's modifying a noun, then it is a participle phrase. Okay, this is a participle phrase. I think most of these are going to be participle phrases. Yeah, so this is a participle phrase because it's modifying Kaldi. It's modifying this person again. Number 5, the newly discovered coffee was under production in Arabia by the 15th century. So here is going to be the phrase, discovered coffee was under production. Okay, this one, does it end in ing? No, but it does end in ed, right? If it ends in ed or ing, then it's a participle phrase. There's a present participle and a past participle, right? Don't forget that, a present participle and a past participle. The present participle will end in ing. The past participle will end in eg. So this is still a participle phrase, except it's a little bit easier because it doesn't end in ing, it ends in ed right here. It ends in ed, okay? The newly discovered coffee was under, and again, it's talking about coffee, right? Or it's talking about how it was. Or it's talking about what happened. It's modifying the noun Arabia. The newly discovered coffee was under production. Okay, where? In Arabia. Or this whole phrase is talking about coffee, but it's modifying this noun here, Arabia. So it is a participle phrase. Number 6, Europe had to wait for coffee until the 16th and 17th centuries. So this one here had to wait for coffee until the 16th and 17th centuries. Okay, this is a gerund phrase, an infinitive phrase, or participle phrase. Well, look at the form. To wait, right? Right here, to wait, infinitive phrase. Good job. This is an infinitive phrase. This one's pretty easy. Okay, number 7. Some people started using coffee not only as a beverage, but also as a medicine. So, some people started, this is actually going to be the main verb. This is what people did. So, using coffee not only as a beverage, but also as a medicine is going to modify what? Is this a participle or a gerund? Good job. This is a gerund phrase because it is modifying the verb started. It is modifying the verb started. So it is a gerund phrase. Whoops, snap. Okay, let's just do number 8 really quick. Okay, number 8. Drinking coffee in the new coffee houses was a prime form of entertainment in the 1700s. So our phrase is going to be drink coffee in the new coffee houses. And is this a gerund phrase or a participle phrase? I believe this one is also a gerund. Let me check this one real quick. Yeah, this is also a gerund phrase. Good job. Why is it a gerund? Because it is modifying this verb here, was. It is saying what the cool thing was to do. Remember, the verb was is a form of the verb to be, so it is modifying the form to be of what of was. So it's a gerund phrase again. Now I need to clear all this, and I'm going to post this exact video of this lesson today. So if you need to go back over it, it will be online. Sorry, my microphone might cut in and out. I'm sorry for that. It's an old microphone. It's the only one I have. If it does, just be patient. It should cut back in after a few minutes, or it's the application. I really don't know which. Okay, so let's start with number 8 here, and then for exercise B, these sentences, just make up your own. That's kind of the point for these. Make up your own and try to have fun with it. And I can give you the form on what to use for these words. Okay. Number 8, drinking coffee. Nope, I did that one. Number 9, people sipped their coffee and read newspapers, talking about the latest news. Okay. So this one might, there seems like there's 2 here, but there's really 1. People sip their coffee. So this is a verb, but this is the main verb of the sentence. It is saying what people, it's taking the subject, telling what the subject did, and about how they did it. So the infinitive phrase, or excuse me, the phrase that we're looking at here is going to be talking about the latest news. So is this an infinitive or a gerund, excuse me, a participle or a gerund phrase? Yes, it is a participle phrase because it is modifying people. It is modifying what these people were doing at the time. It's not modifying this verb. It's not modifying the verb sip. It's not modifying anything other than what people were doing at the time. So it is a participle phrase. Good job, everybody. Seems like this is getting a little bit easier, I hope. So this is a participle phrase. And then number 10, Some people's idea of a pleasant time is to drink coffee with friends. To drink coffee with friends is going to be your phrase. This one should be pretty easy. What kind of phrase is this? If it says to drink, if it has this form here too, it's an infinitive phrase. Good job. Cool. And there's, I think, only one more page for this. So yeah, this was our, okay. And so there's one more page of these. Let's see if I should be able to get through these. Okay, so this is basically, this is going to be the same instructions. It's just underline the phrase and identify whether it's a participle, gerund, or infinitive. So let's do this. I'm going to go through really quick and I'm going to start underlining the phrases, and I want you, while I'm doing that, to try to figure out if it's an infinitive, a gerund, or a participle phrase. It's getting in my way. Okay. I started to think about the choice in my, the first sentence, choosing the right college takes time and consideration. Number one, I started to think about the choice in my sophomore year of high school. Number two, you can start by reading books that describe colleges. Reading books. Number three, you may want to narrow your choices to colleges in your state or private colleges. Number four, a college renowned for its strong academic program is always a good choice. Number five, some students looking forward to making new friends at college also examine social opportunities. Of course, there is no harm in considering a school with a good sports program too. Number seven, cheering your team on until you are hoarse in the throat. Cheering your team on until you are hoarse in the throat is fun. Hoarse just means like sore. Number eight, the excitement of a good game helps students to blow off steam. Number nine, in the end, however, students considering their 4 years of college must focus on the education they will gain. And number 10, another option is to take advantage of your school counselor's knowledge and assistance. This is actually, hold on, to take advantage of, yeah, okay. So number one, I started to think, this is pretty obvious, I hope. This one I hope is pretty obvious by now. I started to think about the choices in my sophomore year. This is, Doa has it, it's an infinitive phrase. No, if it says, oops, if it starts with with the phrase to or with the word to, then it's then like to think here. It's the most basic form of the verb think. So if it's to think, then it's an infinitive phrase. Okay, number two, you can start by reading books that describe colleges. Okay, is this a gerund phrase or a participle phrase? Number two. Is it modifying this subject or this noun you, or is it modifying the verb start or start by even? Gerund, excellent. This is a gerund phrase. Start by reading books. It is modifying a verb. And number three, you may want to narrow your choices. This one should be easy enough. To narrow your choices. This is an infinitive phrase. So if it has to and a simple form of the verb, then it's an infinitive. Number four, a college renowned for its strong academic program is always a good choice. So this is going to be a past participle phrase. Don't forget, if you, this is one of the easier forms of a participle to notice because you add ed. Oops, you're adding oops, you're adding an ed to the end of a verb, not ing. The only time it gets confusing between a gerund and a participle is if it's a present participle, and the present participle and the gerund both end in ing. If it ends in ed, That's a pretty good way to notice if it's a participle phrase. On the test itself, I chose, I think, pretty simple sentences. Renowned, this is kind of I think, I don't know that you would know this verb in the first place, so this might not be the easiest phrase to pick out. There shouldn't be any questions that are this difficult. And if there are, I give you the sentence anyway. Like I give you the sentence and all you need to do is identify what it is. So you're not you're not looking for the phrase. The sentence is given to you with the phrase. You just need to identify what it is. Number 5, some students looking forward to making new friends at college also examine social opportunities. Is this a present participle or a gerund phrase? Yep, good job, Abdullah. This is a present participle because it is modifying this verb students, modifying students. Number 6, of course, there is no harm in considering a school with a good sports program too. Is this a participle phrase or a gerund phrase? This one should be a gerund. Good job. This is a gerund phrase. So it's not modifying any verbs necessarily, but it is the main subject of the sentence. It's being used as a noun, actually. So if it's being used as a noun, it is also a gerund phrase. It's the main subject of the sentence. So it's still a gerund phrase because all you need to basically know is it modifying a noun? Is it being used as an adjective? If not, then it's a gerund phrase. That's one way of looking at gerunds. If it is modifying a noun or a subject, then it is a present participle. Any other way you see this ing with a phrase, this ing, right? Um, oops. Any other time you see ing, that's not modifying a noun, then it is a gerund phrase. However, it's being used. Number 7, cheering your team on until you are hoarse in the throat is fun. Is this a present participle or a gerund? Let me double check this one. I believe it is a participle, present participle. I'm just going to double check this one. Oh, it's a gerund. Okay, excuse me. So this one is a gerund phrase, and it actually is this whole sentence basically. So this one is cheering your team. And this is because it's the main subject of the sentence. So it's up to here. This whole thing is a gerund phrase because it's the main subject of the sentence. It's not modifying any person. It's not modifying you or anything. It is the main subject of the sentence. It's what the sentence is about. So this is also a gerund phrase. There we go. Okay, number 8, the excitement of a good game helps the students to blow off steam. Okay, yep, infinitive phrase, very good, pretty simple. Number 9, in the end, however, students considering their 4 years of college must focus on the education they will gain. Good job, present participle. And number 10, another option is to take advantage of your school's counselor. This is an infinitive phrase. Good job. And then again, exercise B is to write your own sentences. So that's basically, I hope this practice has helped. I will post this video so that you can kind of watch it again. So just remember the biggest difference between a gerund and a present participle phrase is that a present participle phrase will modify a noun and be used as an adjective. If you see ing here in any other way, basically, any other way that's not being used as an adjective or to modify a noun, it is a gerund phrase. What's your question to that? You know what? since we did this today, why don't you, did you guys send me any I don't think anyone has sent me any sentences at all for the vocabulary.